Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Highlight Reel. This is episode 5, I believe, and week 4 of our weekly World Championship Grassroots Halo podcast fuckboy coverage. I don't know. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of the Highlight Reel, and welcome back to the show. It is good to see your beautiful faces again, and I hope it has been a good week. We are coming at y'all a day or two late this week, but right on time in your heart. But yeah, that being said, it's been a very busy last couple of weeks. It's going to be a very busy next couple of weeks, next couple months, actually. Correct myself. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on with Halo and with HCS and with Grassroots and with the community right now. So it's a good time to be a Halo fan, or maybe not a good time to be a Halo fan, but it's a good time to be a member of the community. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think we talked about this in previous shows, but previously there hasn't been a lot of stuff going on. So it's very nice to have arrived at the point where we have frequent events and community stuff, and there's competitive stuff to watch, and there's just stuff to do, because there have been dead periods over the past couple of years where there's been nothing. So, but I digress. I'm rambling. We have a few things to talk about today. New Halo updates with a new operation. It's called the Banished Honor update, I think, just came out a couple days ago. We have a new Grassroots calendar for the month of May. We have competitive HCS stuff to talk about. There's been Pro Series and roster changes and all kinds of stuff. We have 2 LAN tournaments coming up this month. There is a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. So strap the fuck in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good show today. So yeah, State of the Union, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, new Halo Infinite update just went live this week, this Tuesday, I believe, this past Tuesday. The Banished Honor event went live. Let me check my notes, make sure. The Banished Honor event, I wrote that shit down, look at me go. But that brought a few new things to the game. Obviously, I think we talked about a couple of them previously, maybe last week. But there were a couple new maps. There was the new Corrosion, which is the social map, which I have not gotten a chance to play just yet. There was Interference, obviously, which is the Rig remake from Halo 5. But then also there was a new operation, which is, because we're not doing seasons anymore, they're called operations, like little events. It's like a 20-tier battle pass. There was some weapon tuning, obviously new cosmetics and a bunch of new stuff. It was all Banished themed. And then the biggest new thing, which I don't know if we talked about this or not yet, but the biggest new thing that was introduced with this update was the exchange, which, if you're familiar with the exchange from MCC, then you probably already know all about it and how it works. But essentially, it's just a way to give players an avenue to earn like a secondary currency through the game, where they can then purchase unlockable items and cosmetics and stuff without having to spend actual money. So you can earn the currency through just like gameplay and stuff, and I think there's challenges, and I think there's like it's like available in the battle pass. But essentially it's just a way for you to be able to earn stuff and get cosmetics and stuff without having to spend real money, because that's been a big complaint over the past couple years, specifically with Infinite, is the sort of aggressive monetization. And I guess a lot of people have taken issue with a lot of the prices of things. Sorry, I just cracked my knuckle. But the prices of things, and feeling like things are very overpriced in the shop. So just a cool thing. Essentially, they have, I think they're called Spartan points, and you can earn Spartan points, and then you can just like buy things in the exchange little section of the shop, which I think they also have, like, I don't know if they're shop items or if they're vaulted items, or things from past seasons that you can't get anymore. But I think they have like decent stuff in the exchange as well. I'll have to check and actually give it a decent look. But overall, pretty cool updates. A lot of good things and good quality of life things. I think we also mentioned it a little bit last week, but they're all good changes and things that are very good to have. But I don't think necessarily anything that's going to move the needle in terms of population or bringing people back to the game. I don't think anybody's gonna look at that update and say like, oh boy, the like if somebody's not playing Halo Infinite right now and they see like, oh, the exchange and like a new map, like I don't think that's gonna do much to get people back on the game. But again, I don't want to look at it from completely the negative side because again, it is just a nice quality of life thing. These are all good things to have. Better late than never, certainly. A lot of these things would have been nice to have earlier in the game and maybe even on launch, but definitely things that we're glad to have now, especially for the existing players and people like myself, things that I'm definitely going to enjoy. So, yeah, definitely got to look at it from the positive frame of reference. But yeah, new grassroots calendar came out this past it was a day or two ago actually. So new calendar for the month of May is out, and it is a very very busy month. As I mentioned before, there are two whole ass LAN tournaments, and we have several online stuff and qualifiers leading up to that. So ton of cool stuff. I'm involved in another few playdates and community events, so it's going to be a great time. So just to go over the last week before we dive into what's in the future, we've had a very eventful last few days. I think there were two play dates that we did, as well as two whole ass open series last week. So I'm just gonna kind of go down my notes here. The major development from Pro Series last week was number one, Shopify Rebellion looks like the real motherfucking deal. And number two was probably the roster change domino effect from everybody else having to change. And specifically the Sparty change and then the collect change. I think the collect one was the one that really threw a wrench into everything. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of confusing, but there were two open series this past week because the first day of open series was like last Sunday, and then they played day 2 on Thursday, and then there was a whole ass other qualifier that was Saturday Sunday. So we had day 2 of a tournament Thursday, and then we had a whole ass other tournament Saturday Sunday. So ton of stuff. But for the first one, I did not get a chance to watch the first day of Pro Series. However, watching the second day, like I said, Shopify absolutely looked like the real deal. They ended up winning the first Pro Series. Shopify, obviously, Mental, Cycle, Suppressed, and Soul Snipe. They took fourth, I believe, at Arlington, and they have looked absolutely electric online. The only team I would say that's been able to consistently not only challenge the teams in the Big Three, but also beat them. They beat the ever-living fuck out of FaZe in their match in one of the open series. And it's definitely like, it's online, it's Halo Infinite, whatever. It's only open series. We'll see when we get to LAN. But going into HCS London here at the end of the month, they are looking extremely, extremely good. So looking at that first open series, Shopify, like I said, were able to win that one, and they beat SSG in the final. Notably, Native with their new roster got top 12, I believe, and then Complexity with Spartan ended up getting top 8. And I think I have written down here as well the sort of domino effect from the Collect change. The new Collect team appears to be Collect, King Nick, Diagram, and Rami. At least that's who he was playing with in Open Series. I don't know if that's gonna be the actual team that they go to London with, or what. But there is kind of not a whole lot of time for turnaround because London is at the end of the month, and qualifiers are like I said, there were 2 qualifiers last week. There's like one There's one this weekend, and then also the weekend after that, and then it's pretty much tournament time. So I think a lot of these teams are going to have to finalize their rosters pretty soon, if not already. Um, so we also saw a new Cloud9 team, which was Suspector and Tusk, and I can't remember who else, but essentially the Proton team that used to be Proton became the new Cloud9 team, and the new Proton team is now Druck, Manny, Talek, and Last Shot, I believe. So just teams to keep an eye out on going into London, and then I just have written down here for the second Open Series, Shopify still the real deal. There was a 10-game absolute marathon grand final. It was a bracket reset. I believe Shopify came from winners, so they had winners advantage, and SSG came from losers and reset the bracket. But like I said, it went to game 10, absolute marathon grand finals, and I just have written in all caps here, fucking phenomenal Halo. It was great stuff to watch. It was absolute chaos. One thing about that matchup specifically, Shopify versus SSG, is those are the two fastest, most aggressive teams I have ever seen play Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, I have given criticism spectator-wise to for being kind of slow to watch sometimes, specifically in like oddball and in certain situations. But watching Shopify and SSG play, like I'm talking constant, it was warfare from the time the map started until it ended. Curb slides left and right, bodies flying all over the place. Like, it's constantly everybody dying, people just cycling. One of those where the observer is cycling through players and every person they go to is dying. Like, it was just absolute insanity. But a pleasure to watch. Like I said, some phenomenal Halo. So definitely looking forward to see if Shopify can continue to make some noise going into LAN and potentially place in the top 3, because it would be very interesting to see the big 3 shaken up, because I think a lot of people would agree there are a ton of competitive teams in the league, and certainly the landscape is getting more competitive. This is something that we also talk about a lot, but going into year 3 of Halo Infinite, a lot of the teams, the skill gaps sort of starts to tighten, and a lot of people start to pick up on the meta and the pace of play, and it starts to become very like standard, if that makes sense. Kind of struggling with how I want to word it, but essentially I think it takes just kind of a while for everybody to get with the program. There's usually, if you guys notice, there's usually in the first year or 2 of a game, normally 1 or 2 teams will just absolutely run the table, dominate the scene, and everybody else for the most part is like not even close to their level. In Halo 5, CLG, Optic, like they were pretty much uncontested for like the first year of the game, it felt like. But at this point, looking at just the landscape for London, obviously our big 3 are still our big 3 in Optic, FaZe, and SSG, but FaZe have looked vulnerable recently. Shopify, like we've been sitting here talking about for the past 20 minutes, have looked absolutely electric. This new complexity roster with Sparty has looked sort of up and down, but obviously that roster on paper has potential to do very well. We've still got Sentinels lurking with Precision, who I'm sure is very eager to prove himself as a suitable replacement for Sparty. We've got Quadrant, who's obviously they're the hosting team of this major, so you're looking at them to perform for their home major. Foe, another EU team, obviously with Wootum. There's just, if you just look at the landscape currently, there's so many competitive teams, and that's not even to mention some of the other teams that we were talking about: Proton, Cloud9, Native. I feel like nobody's even thinking about Native. at this point with their new roster. So many teams right now, so many competitive teams as well. It feels like, and I'm hoping that we get some very interesting and entertaining matches and some interesting results, and I'm hoping we get some upsets and just some good Halo. But yeah, there were also a couple playdates last week. I think we had a squad battle playdate, and then also we did myself, Eli, Jeremy Stress, and Extreme Breaker. We did a challenge. We did a legendary firefight on every single map in ODST and did a challenge to try to beat. We did like a set on all of them. Uh, but we did it on every single map on legendary, and it was a ton of fun. I think I talked about it last week, but it's something that I had never really done before. I hadn't really ever played much firefight or experimented with it, especially not on legendary and especially not co-op. So like I mentioned last week, it was definitely a ton of fun and super cool to sort of get outside our comfort zone and play something a little bit different. And it was a great little community event. So yeah, that was last week. 2 playdates, 2 open series. So I believe I like 6 out of the 7 days last week, I was live like all day, just doing Halo stuff, which was great, but also was very busy. So, but I would definitely rather be busy than not, because like we were talking about earlier, and like I've talked about several times, uh, just it's so fresh in my mind, those slow periods of, all right, this event's over. Now I have to wait 4 months for the next tournament, and that's 4 months of solo queuing and playing by myself and streaming by myself and not playing with anybody or playing in any tournaments or anything, and just to be able to have the setup and the stuff that we have with grassroots and with HCS and with all the community stuff. It's just a blessing to be able to be a part of all that stuff. So yeah, as usual, shouts out to HCS and shouts out to the homies and everybody for organizing the events and everybody who shoots me invites to stuff. Another thing is for these past few weeks with Open Series, LVT has been broadcasting them. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know, if you pay attention to competitive Halo, I'm sure you guys know all about who LVT is. But LVT has had us as an official co-streamer for the past few weeks as well. So they've been handling broadcasting all the online stuff in the Open Series. But also they brought on a few grassroots people and a few community people as official co-streamers, and so we've been lucky enough to be a part of their official co-streamers and have the drops and all that stuff. So shouts out to LVT and everybody over there, big friends of the channel, a lot of our homies over there, and yeah, just really appreciative and really blessed to be a part of all this stuff and to be invited to do all this stuff. I still definitely get a little bit of the imposter syndrome when it comes to all this stuff. It's still very nice and very humbling to, I don't know, just to be included, because I feel like I don't know, I'm definitely not one of the big dogs when it comes to, you know, the creators and the players and the people that are involved in all this stuff. So I feel very lucky and very blessed to be a part of all that stuff. But yeah, shouts out to HCS and shouts out to LVT and everybody as usual. Just really appreciative recently. So yeah, that's kind of it for Halo stuff that's been going on recently. Just to so I think that's probably gonna be it for the State of the Union. So I guess we'll just dive into what I'm messing around with, and we'll probably be done for today. But yeah, it's been another week of batshit insane NBA stuff. It's been playoff games all week, and I know it's also been hockey playoffs, which unfortunately I haven't paid any attention to that. But I've had my hands full with, obviously we just talked about, I've had so much Halo stuff going on over the past few days. But also just had my hands full with trying to keep up with all of that, but also baseball and the NBA playoffs, and it's been a crazy past few days. It's been a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I believe my Braves narrowly avoided getting swept by the Mariners in Seattle yesterday. I believe we were finally able to get one from them. I think we got 2 out of 3 from the Guardians as well. So my Braves are still looking pretty good. A little shakier this week, but still looking pretty good. And also the NBA playoffs have been, I mean, suitably bad shit. I don't even know if that makes sense. But yeah, the Timberwolves look really motherfucking good. I guess like the main theme of the playoffs thus far has been it's really like evident that we're at that sort of like passing of the torch moment between generations in basketball, where as everybody's been pointing out, Curry and the Warriors didn't make the playoffs. LeBron and the Lakers got knocked out 4-1. I think KD and the Suns got swept. And all of the teams that are looking good are, the Timberwolves, which obviously they got Ant Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, and they got a young team. And OKC is the 1 seed in the West with SGA and with Chet Holmgren. And it's just very evident that like we've reached that point where it's really that shift between generations. And so it's fun to see and interesting to see and a little bit sad to see for those players of yours that are your favorite players. But yeah, just like a really interesting time in the sport. And really also the level of play, I feel like across the board, in whether we're talking about basketball or baseball or Halo, I feel like the level of play in competition and stuff has just never been higher. Like, I don't know what it is recently, but I feel like everybody's been fucking sweaty. Like, everybody's been trying their absolute ass off. And I know it's always been that way, but also it just feels a little sweatier than usual recently, which I don't know, which I'm here for. It sounds fun. But yeah, that's kind of let me double check the calendar here and let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. But that's kind of it for what I'm doing. And oh, I also totally neglected to mention this earlier when we were talking about LVT. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place today. But LVT is hosting and broadcasting the Titans of Orlando tournament, which is 2 weeks prior to HCS London. So I don't know the exact details behind the tournament, but essentially it is a Halo Infinite tournament in Orlando, $12,500 prize pool. Like I said, it's like 2 weeks before London, so it'll be good practice for the teams that are going to that. But also it'll just be really cool. It's, I think, the first time since Halo Infinite has released where we've seen like a local event that's not like an official HCS major, which, if you guys remember, used to be extremely common. In Halo 5, we had events run by all different tournament organizers. Aside from, it wasn't just HCS, it was also UMG and UGC and 2050 and all types of other people, which I think 2050 might be involved in this one. I think it, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But yeah, ton of different, and also that used to be a big thing in Call of Duty as well, was there weren't just MLG events, there were MLGs and UMGs and all types of different events. So cool to see a different event that's not like an official HCS major. So it should be a little bit different. You're not going to see every single pro team there, because also, given that it's only 2 weeks prior to HCS London, there's going to be obviously teams that are not going to want to travel with that close to London. There are going to be teams, obviously, I think probably a lot of the European teams. Like, I don't think you're going to see many international teams go to that event, because they would have to travel to the US and turn around and travel right back. so yeah, it should be interesting to see who all's going to go, who's going to attend, and what kind of competition we're going to see. But to that end, it should also probably be more entertaining or potentially more interesting because you might see some team combinations that you don't normally see. You might see certain players play together that don't normally play together. Like a lot of these local events are good opportunities to see like you might see like players like Renegade and Lucid end up on a team together, which in under normal circumstances you would never see, but given that it's like a local thing, you might see something like that. I don't know any specifics. I just used those two players as an example. Um, but like I don't think SSG is going, but I think Bound and Legend are going, so they'll probably be playing with two people they don't normally play with. And yeah, we'll probably see a good variety of teams, and some people won't go, but some people will, and yeah, should be interesting. And also, it's cool to see another tournament organizer putting on an event for the community, and there's a pretty substantial prize pool. Like $12,500 is a pretty good prize pool. Like that's a uh as far as locals go, like that's a decent chunk of change. And it wasn't that long ago that we were playing, you know, in grand finals of the HCS events. You were liable to win $20,000. Uh, so yeah, definitely super cool to see. And with LVT running the broadcasting, I'm sure that we'll have plenty of content. I'm sure that it'll all be streamed, and I'm sure that we'll be able to watch party it, and we'll be able to check it out. So all very cool, and I'm looking forward to all that stuff. So yeah, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, so just to mention this really quickly. Um, that tournament that we've been talking about, the LVT, the Titans of Orlando tournament, is May 17th through May 19th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then HCS London is 2 weeks after that, which is Friday, May 31st through Sunday, June 2nd. So yeah, two whole ass LAN tournaments this month. Very exciting, and yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, I think that's finally it on the Halo front. Uh, just to kind of wrap up with what I've been into this past week, I've still been uh flying through my Mass Effect journey. I'm a little further in Mass Effect 2. I think I'm coming up close to the end. If you ever played Mass Effect, and specifically Mass Effect 2, I'm trying real hard. I've never done this before. I'm trying real hard to get the ending where everybody lives and you get through the final mission without any of your homies dying. So I'm like taking extra care to do all the side missions and every little thing and everybody's loyalty missions and making sure everybody's happy and all this stuff. But I've been having a ton of fun running through that game. Um, and that's been a lot of fun to play on the side. I haven't made a ton of progress in the past week because, like I said, it's been a busy week. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Um, but yeah, definitely having a ton of fun with that. And then the other thing that I've been on a bunch recently is I've been sort of I've been hit with the Minecraft bug again. It's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. Every 6 to 8 to 10 months, the Minecraft bug just bites me hard, and I grind the absolute fuck out of it for like 2 weeks to a month, and then I'm off for a year. But for those couple weeks or that month, I'm grinding that shit, and it's all I can think about. Uh, and it's not quite to that level. I'm not on like 12 hours a day skipping shit to play it, but I have been playing a bunch recently. I have a realm with all my homies, uh, Cole and Justin and Dallas, and we've had a realm for the better part of 2 years, maybe 3 years. Um, that we have completely like all in survival, but we've built a ton of shit, and like we've built big ass castles and skyscrapers and all types of shit. And it sounds lame as fuck when I sit here and explain it, but like it's one of those where uh I always played Minecraft Worlds, and uh I would go through the whole process of like, you'd start out and you go through the normal progression of like getting all the different materials and finding diamonds and building your house and going to the nether and doing this and that and whatever else. But I had never stuck with a Minecraft world for longer than like, like I said, I sort of played Minecraft in spurts. So I would come back, I'd play it, I'd grind the shit out of a new world for like a month or two, then I'd be done, I'd be off. And then when I came back, I'd start a new world and I'd repeat the process. But this is the first time that I've really like stuck with a singular world and just tried to build it up uh from the jump. And it's been a very interesting experience. I think it's been similar for my other friends that have been playing on it. But uh but it's been super cool, and it's been obviously just to like see the progress from then to now, and that satisfaction of doing it all in survival and like knowing that like when I built that skyscraper, I didn't just build it in creative. Like I went and I mined every single one of those blocks, and I fucking smelted all that shit and placed every single one of them by hand, like all that shit. Like I said, it sounds lame as fuck when I sit here and describe it, but I think we'll have to do some kind of like walkthrough or something at some point of that server, because at this point, 3 years in, we've spent like that's a solid amount of time. We've done a lot of things and built a lot of stuff, and it's a pretty it's pretty lit for a Minecraft server. So I think we definitely have to do like a walkthrough or something for like a video at some point. Maybe we ought to put that on like the Wavelinks channel or something, because I don't think we've uploaded a video there in a couple years. Um, but yeah, speaking of other content and stuff outside of Halo, I believe in the next few days, perhaps even in the next couple days, I'll be releasing a Call of Duty video, which should be very interesting. I'm not going to say too much about it, but it should be a very interesting and fun video, and some good competitive stuff. Um, so yeah. That being said, I'm having a blast making content recently. I had a couple people come by the stream this past week and mention, which by the way, I'm live pretty much every single day. We've had a ton of Halo stuff going on recently, but also been playing a bunch of other games. We're almost done with GTA 5 over there on the stream. And then after that, we'll finish, I think we're going to finish Hogwarts Legacy after that. Which by the way, streaming every single day. Go check us out over there. Go check out the second channel, always linked in the description of every single one of my videos. That's where all my Twitch VODs and stuff go. Um, but yeah, it's been, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but I think I was just saying it's been busy, it's been awesome, and we've been making a ton of content. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The content's been pretty heavy recently, and I had a couple people come by the stream this past week and mention that they appreciated the frequency of the content, and like said that it was cool that they were getting more videos out of me during the week. So I'm appreciative of anybody who's watching and listening, and if you've been enjoying the stuff, I appreciate it. And any feedback or criticism or whatever, if you just want to talk shit to me, I'm always down for that. Just feel free to get after me in the YouTube comments or in my Discord or whatever, man. I've been having a ton of fun with the process recently. I think I mentioned this last week, but there's nothing to get particularly excited about when it comes to the game. Matter of fact, my like fun level with Halo Infinite is probably at its lowest that it's been in since like 2022. But because of all the stuff going on, because of just the frequency of competitive Halo stuff going on and all the community stuff that I've been able to play, and like we're doing MCC playdates and community stuff, like just with all that going on, like I've been just really enjoying myself and enjoying the process as a content creator. And one thing I'll always say is that like even if I don't love Halo Infinite, I will always love Halo. Halo, the property, the community, the thing, like, and it's something that we've talked about a bunch before as well. Is like people always ask me like oh, if you don't like Halo Infinite, then like why are you still playing or whatever? And it's like, well, again, one is like I like Halo Infinite fine. It's okay. Um, but like bad Halo to me is still Halo. And like I said, I just fucking love Halo. And so, yeah, that's just kind of where my head's at. That's how I'm feeling. It's very exciting to have a lot of stuff going on. And hopefully we do get to the point where the game is good and the game is fun. And I would like some more news. Hopefully before another eternity passes about, what's next for Halo. It'd be cool to know down the line if we've got another game coming, or if there's going to be a spin-off, or if there's going to be a battle royale, or if there's going to be another ODST type game, or if there's going to be nothing. I would personally like to know. And it's something that I talked about on stream a little bit as well this past week, but I'm not at all worried that Halo's going to go away, because Halo is one of those things that, as a property, it's iconic. The name is iconic. The music is iconic. The character of Master Chief and his look are iconic. And it's owned by Microsoft, who Microsoft is not finna run out of money anytime soon. So I think even if Halo were to go on hiatus, even if it were to die, quote unquote, it would just be resurrected a couple years later. There would just be another new release. I think there's probably always going to be another new Halo thing eventually, whether it be from a new studio, or if it's just a new thing, or if it's a spin-off game, or like whatever it looks like. And like I said, even if it goes dormant for a little while, I think there's always going to be something in the future for Halo. So I'm not altogether worried, or I'm not worried that Halo's going to disappear altogether. But it would certainly be nice to have some sort of hint at the future. But yeah, that's just kind of where my head's at this week. I know this episode was a little bit last minute and a little bit all over the place, and I apologize. My goofy ADD ass jumping all over the place, but hopefully y'all could follow that well enough, and this was an enjoyable episode. I really appreciate having this format and this avenue to talk to y'all. It's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed making it and doing it over the past couple weeks. Really enjoyed, like I said, the process and the content and doing all the stuff just kind of in general recently. I'm having a lot of fun, and I hope it shows, man. And I hope we've been making good stuff. Like I said, remember to get after us with any criticism or feedback or advice, or like I said, if you just want to talk shit, you can always tweet me. You can always get after me in the comments on YouTube or in my Discord server. But yeah, I think that's probably going to do it. That's this week, so I will let y'all get out of here. I appreciate y'all kicking it with me for another episode of the highlight reel, and for chilling for another episode of the show. It was a great time, and again, I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys are doing well. I always hope nothing but the best for y'all, so remember to let me know how y'all are doing. But yeah, get after me in the comments on YouTube. Like I was saying, remember to get down in the description and check out all my other stuff: Twitch, Twitter, Discord, my second channel, all that stuff. I'm streaming pretty much every single day, as well as remember to check down in the description. If you're on YouTube, top link in the description. Go listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. We're on Spotify, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast. And then alternatively, if you're listening to us somewhere else, remember to go check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/reclaimer. We're making Halo content pretty much every single day. We got a ton of stuff coming out, and it's been a great time. So, yeah, that's it for this all over the place episode of the highlight reel. I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you guys are going to have a great upcoming week. But that's going to do it for me today. Much love, much respect, as always. Stay tuned, y'all. Motherfucker.